Hello, everybody. It's me, Tracy, and I want to welcome everyone to the very first episode of, and you can see in the title, but it's cut off, so I will give you the title. It's Congratulations to the 47th President of the United States, Cornel West. Um, I just got a notification that threw me off, but normally I would tell you all to subscribe, but I'm not going to do that today. So today it's just all about going to this site, going to cornelwest24.org, learn about the campaign. Um, the platform is there. The shop button is there. That's where I got this T-shirt from. So I'm gonna try to keep this short. Kind of tell you. Well, I petitioned for the first. I gathered signatures today. That was unique. I did that today. Um, I am also going to talk about, of course, why I support Dr. West. Then I'm going to talk about future shows. So those three things I'll talk about. Um, like I said, um, this will be the only website that you'll see on this type of um, on this show in particular. In this show only, you won't see any of my things. I had a link down here to my site, but I'm not going to show it. So just go to that website. So I gathered petitions today, and it's different. So I've worked political campaigns before. I've gone out, I've knocked door to door, but I've never gathered signatures. That's one thing I had never done. And I was really nervous about, the whole prospect because again, I've never done it. And it went about as well as I could have expected. Um, there's a couple things that I took away from this day or in this event that I'm going to keep in mind. Um, the media has done a really good job of scaring people against Trump. And what I mean by, well, I mean basically what I'm saying. Um, it was hard to get people, especially the one guy that walked up was like, "Don't you realize what you're doing?" Well, yes, I'm gathering signatures for a third party candidate to get onto the ballot. But I think he's in that that frame of mind. Um, a vote for a third party candidate is a vote for the Republicans, which again, this is so not true. Why do you assume? And this is what this gentleman does because again, the media does a good job in miseducating people about this. They will seriously tell you if you vote this way, you're actually voting for another person, and that's just not true. It's not even logical if you thought about it. So what they won't tell you is when you vote for a person, you're not voting for the other people. You're literally voting for that person that you're casting your votes to for. And so I just don't understand this argument because you're assuming that if Dr. West wasn't on the ballot, I would vote for Biden. And that's just not true. If West wasn't on the ballot, pardon me, I would skip the office literally. I would just skip and go down to the next one. I'm not going to vote for somebody because I'm scared of somebody else. I don't understand the fear that people have of Trump. Or like, oh, well, he'll take us on the brink of a civil war. Well, that's just like Biden, except for he wants a war with China for some unknown reason. Um, it's amazing. Like I said, the media has done a really good job of miseducating people. Now, some people said they were going to vote for Trump and just walk by, which is what I expected. Um, but I don't, we did have some people sign and they definitely got it. And I thank those people. Definitely thank them because, and I'll say it this way: if we can have a contest where we're picking between 50 women for Miss America, how come we only get 2 candidates for president? It doesn't make sense, right? It doesn't make sense that we're just trying to narrow the field down. You need to give people more choices. That's like you walking into the grocery store and you only get to choose one type of bread, one type of meat, one type of beverage, one type of, you just get to pick one and that's it. You have a choice between just two. And both of them are high priced. You don't have the option of finding something within your price range. You just pick between these two and that's all you get. Nobody would go to a store like that, but yet people will make this argument and I don't understand it. You're literally saying to people, hey, if you support this third party candidate or any third party candidate, it's your fault if the other person wins. No, it's the other person's fault for not doing enough to get me to vote for them in the first place. Let's just go with that. I'm trying to stall until some other people get on here, but it just amazes me. Like, if your campaign was so strong and you were doing things that we want, like a $20 minimum hour wage, not drilling on public land, not just pumping money into Ukraine like we're just on a blank check type of thing, then, and I'm not saying don't give Ukraine any money at all. That's not what I'm saying. But there's no condition of like you need to start negotiating with Russia. You need to sit down with them. Nothing. Just give the money. Now you're giving Taiwan money for weapons, provoking China for literally no reason. But I'm supposed to vote for this. I'm supposed. It just, it's it amazes me again how the media has really miseducated people. And you can literally say to them, no, that's not true. When you vote for one person, that's who you're voting. No, if you're voting for Dr. West, you're voting for Trump. No, if I wanted to vote for Trump, I would vote for Trump. Maybe if Biden were doing, the things that we want, then I wouldn't even have to consider Dr. West. And on that note, and I'm like I said, I'll get back to the petitioning here in just a moment. Like, who are you? Who? And I'm saying to you all that believe this argument, you get to say who I vote for. Like, you really think you have that right? You have the right to tell me who to vote for. You don't. And I don't understand that. It's like literally the way that you pompously say that. It's so arrogant. It's so wrong. It's so idiotic. But people still buy into that argument. And I want to know, um, as I reflect on it, like, how do we like stop that argument, because it's such a bad argument. I'm really tired. Petitioning is really hard work. I think we didn't get as many signatures as we wanted, but again, 37,000 is our goal, and we're starting early enough to give ourselves a good head start. So we're moving towards the right goals. Except for I would want definitely a whole lot more signatures to secure it, but it's just so, it's really frustrating, right? Because you're working hard, you're promoting a candidate that would actually benefit people, and they are rejecting it because they're scared of the other person. As many times I say, hey, they're the same, it's just people won't believe any different. And so maybe it's time. We're not. I'm not stopping petitioning. So that's just going to keep me energized to get more petitions. Absolutely, positively. But it's just I just don't understand why so many people buy into that argument, and the media keeps making it and keeps making it and keeps making it. I guess because they don't really want third parties. I mean, you look at countries and they have five, six, seven, eight parties. Not in America. I mean, we have third parties. There's Libertarian, there's Green, there's PSL, there's Constitutional Party, but none of those parties have any leverage because the Demopubs, they keep people off the ballot. I mean, I've told this story about why I'm petitioning here in Indiana so hard. Independent candidates for president have to come up with 37,000 signatures. Democrat and Republican candidates do not. They only have to come up with five. How come theirs is five and independence is 37,000? Oh, and they throw out things for the pettiest of reasons. So we really need enough to pad that, which is another 15,000. And I think 37 plus 15 is what, 52,000? That's a big number. It's hard when you have few volunteers to do that, but it has to be done. We have to give people more choices and better choices. I just happen to believe that Dr. West is the better choice. Um, I'm still in a resty mode because, like I said, I stood up for like 3 hours straight, and I'm like, oh, this isn't gonna be for me, but it's gonna have to be. My personal goal is to collect 2,500 signatures, and so I'm trying to figure out how I can do that. Um, but again, I'm glad I went because now I have the experience. I know, the next time I go, which is going to be in like 3 or 4 days, I know what to do. I know how to do it. I know what to say. I know what not to say. Um, One of the things that I like is we picked a really good day to go petition. It was like 58 degrees, and if you know anything about Indiana weather, it's just been super hot, like up in the high 90s. And so today was just like the perfect day um, to go out and collect signatures. So I thought that was good. I'm not sure when I'll be standing. I'm doing a lot of tabling. And so that's going to be interesting. And I'm looking forward to it. I wish could let people register online because that would be so much easier. It would just be easier to people go to a website and they could sign a petition and register for their third, register to sign um, a ballot for ballot access online instead of making people sign like a signature. And that was the other thing that I thought was so amazing. Well, not amazing, that was so frustrating. Is in Indiana, you've got to print your name, sign your name, put your address, your date of birth. It was people that literally skipped their dates of birth, and I'm like, your name is not going to count. And so the next time I go, I'm definitely, now I didn't have that happen to me because I was pretty much telling everybody, hey, put your name, your address, and your date of birth. We're not going to sell it, but the state has to verify it. We have to have this so that Dr. West's name can go on the ballot. And I didn't get any type of pushback. So that was good. But yeah, we had a couple, like the first two, and they did not put their date of birth. And we're like, well, we might as well throw that away. Um, But like I said, it was an interesting experience. I can't wait to go back out again. But people are just so um I don't want to say brainwash. That's not the word I want to use. Propagandize. That's the word I want to use. Propagandize. And once that message gets in the brain, it's hard to get it out. But we'll do it. We're going to figure out ways to get around those type of arguments. Simply, we're going to tell people the truth. Now, whether they want to hear the truth or not, that's a whole different discussion. Oh, I see I got somebody finally on after rambling for 15 minutes, so that's good. Um, but I wanted to talk about why I started this podcast and what that means for Tracy Media LLC. So, Tracy Media LLC will still continue to interview third party presidential candidates. That will not change. Tracy Media LLC Entertainment will not endorse a candidate. But Tracy M. Carson absolutely positively will. Um, gonna happen, is happening, but I I started this podcast. Well, one, I knew from day one, once Dr. West announced this is what I was gonna do. I knew it. It didn't. Even when he was with the Movement for a People's Party, I was like, okay, yep, we're gonna have a podcast. Um, Knew I was going to do it. It was just the how, like the technically how, like who, what, when, how, where exactly. All of those things had to get ironed out. But I knew I wanted to do um, a podcast talking about his campaign, talking about how you can visit this site and learn more about his platform, learn how you can volunteer. I'm saying we need, the campaign needs volunteers. So definitely visit that site, cornellwest24.org, and get engaged. Um, but starting this it wasn't a hard decision. I knew I was going to do it. I had a couple of ways that I wanted to do it, and I'm sorry, I have to drink some water because my throat is itchy. I had a couple of ways that I wanted to do the podcast. I thought, interview or get in front of the camera and talk about why I'm supporting the campaign, which is why I'll talk about that here in a couple of minutes. But then I thought, I don't want to just be up here just doing like I'm doing now and just going, and then, I want to talk to other West supporters and how we can kind of lock hands and get this man into the White House. That's the goal. That's the goal of this podcast. Now I know somebody was like, "Oh, well, you have like no chance." Everybody's got a chance. Who literally thought that Trump had a chance back in 2015 when he went, or yeah, 2015 when he came down that escalator? Nobody thought he had a chance, but yet he got elected. So I'm not going to entertain a whole lot of 5%ers on my podcast. I can't. I know they mean well. We've been doing this 5%, 5%, at least in the Green Party for 30 years. It's just time to go for the jugular. It's time to go for the jugular and get what would be considered the greatest political upset of all time. We have everything to lose. Because really, if you look at the two mainstream, that's what I'll call them, mainstream candidates, there's not too much that they're different on. And you're going to say, well, no, one is this and one is this. If you look at the military budgets that are passed under both administrations, the fact that children are in cages under both administrations, the fact that unemployment is way higher than both want to believe. There's so many similarities. And if we can get people to realize that, or when we get people to realize that, you're going to see me get on air, buy a ticket to DC, and just probably cry because I know the Green Party has been trying this for years. And they've always said their goal is 2%. And now I'm hearing our goal is to win. And that's a whole mindset that I'm so welcome to because I'm one, I don't believe in running for office. If your goal isn't to win, then why are you doing it? Some people do it to like heighten or like make people aware of issues. That's fine. Well, actually, I don't think it's fine because if you're having people financially support your campaign, that's not fine. Now, if you're just, you have a website and you don't take any type of money, okay, then I'm okay with you running to raise awareness to an issue. But for you to take money from contributors and you don't want to win, you just want to bring this issue to light, I'm just not for it. I never would have started this podcast if I thought, Dr. West, if he just gets 5%, no, we need him from I'm going to say 6% that he's at right now to 20 so that he can get on the debate stage. Because if he gets on the debate stage, it's over. The whole thing is over. Trump can go home if he's not in prison. Biden can go home. This whole thing can be done with and finished with. So that's the next phase. Not only gathering signatures, but trying to get I was about to say President West. Well, that's the goal of this podcast. But to get West, past the goal line in terms of um, winning and actually putting his agenda forth. Um, and like I said, this is going to be a very, very, very short podcast because I don't want to just ramble on. So in the next couple of months, and I'm saying months because this podcast only airs on the third Saturday of each month. It does not air every week. I'm not going to do this every week, but I'm going to do this the third Saturday of every month. I will get on, and hopefully I'll be talking to a supporter of Dr. West, and we'll discuss several issues. But like I said, wait a minute. So we got Parker in the house. Hello, Parker. I was just about to say goodbye, everybody. So I'll be trying to interview some people that support Dr. West, and then hopefully we'll get to say congratulations, 47th President of the United States, Cornel West. The situation is dire. And I think people know that, but they don't want to admit that. Um, my challenge would be to ask yourself, how far have you come since both of these administrations took office? You had one president say that, Muslims aren't welcome here, which is terrible, disgusting, atrocious. Then you had another one that continued his policies of caging children, putting children in cages, separating children from their families, kicking people off unemployment. Um, no, Target, you will not offend me if you don't watch the beginning because I'm really on struggle street. I was telling the audience that petition gathering is not for the weak at heart. You've got to really, really be for a candidate. I know when I was younger, I worked political campaigns, but that was just for an established candidate, and they had enough volunteers where it just wasn't so stressful. This was just like, oh my goodness. I stood up for what seemed like all day, but I didn't. And it was just, I'm like, my legs hurt, my back hurts, my side hurts. We've got to get 37,000 really, really quickly because I'll tell you what, I'm worn out. This was a day that I'm glad, like I said at the beginning, I'm glad that I did it, and I'm going to do it again. But my goodness, we've got to do something because what we're doing now is not working. It's not. And I wish that people would look at that. I feel one obstacle is when people want to overemphasize online drama among leftist people related. You know what, Parker? I'm glad you said that. Some of those people are trolls. They have to be. You had people. There has been a drama about the past couple of weeks. There was the Jimmy Dore drama, which that was so. Um, he didn't say what Jimmy Dore wanted, and so they were gonna not support him. This week's drama, oh, he hired, or the campaign hired Peter Dow, Hillary Clinton's former campaign manager. It's like people on the left, we need to get our stuff together. I don't, either you're for Dr. West or you are not. If that's the little bit that you'll get out, see you. Because it just doesn't make sense. There's one thing to critique and say, you might want to talk about this, or you could talk about this. But if the campaign says, no, that's not what Dr. West is going to talk about, then that's not what Dr. West is going to talk about. Read his platform. He can't talk about 80,000 issues every single week. It's not going to happen. There's no such thing as a perfect candidate. And some of these people causing the problems, I think they're trolls. They have to be. It's like they came out of nowhere and they started stirring just to divide and conquer, because that's the easy thing to do. You just divide and you conquer. If you can get people divided and arguing, then you don't get to move forward, right? And so I personally, I ignored, I'm ignoring the drama. Now, of course, if Dr. West is in Jeffrey Epstein's book, I'm done. Um, if he's like saying children should be slaves, I'm done. I mean, it's going to take a lot. Him hiring Hillary Clinton's former campaign manager, that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing, because it's showing that he wants to win and not just be happy with this silly 5%. It is so ridiculous. And I wish people on the left would see that and realize, guys, we have to get rid of the trolls, because they first ones got to go. But we have to unite, because we are at an extreme disadvantage. Hello, Marlon. How are you? But I just wish some people would just learn to be satisfied, because it doesn't seem like those groups of extreme leftists are ever satisfied. They don't want them to talk about racism. He's been talking about racism for over 50 years. Like, you expect him to stop? Like, oh, he's just going to stop talking about racism? He's just going to stop. Well, he doesn't say that Biden and Trump are the same. Are you kidding me? He said that in nearly every interview he's done. And I'm not sitting here like I'm an apologist for the West campaign. I am not. But our criticisms, one, need to stay in-house and not be public, because that's trifling. But again, there's a lot of trolling out there, and I think it doesn't surprise me that that's happening, because you can kind of tell that's where they're coming from. But again, you don't, like the Jamie Dore interview, you don't tell a person who's been talking about institutional racism for 50 years, oh, you shouldn't talk about racism. Okay, what do you want him to talk about? The economy? Well, there's racist elements in I I don't think Jimmy Dore even knew that Cornel West wrote a book called. He didn't. The problem is with Jimmy Dore is, and this is about as much as I ever plan on talking about it. He's a narcissistic, right wing white supremacist. Sue me, I don't got no money. I just don't. I don't got money and I ain't got time. He puts black people's names on his mouth in a negative way, and he gets away with it. And I don't know why people let him get away with it. Should there's a lot of things I think that the West campaign should be doing, and it doesn't mean that they won't. But if they don't, I'm not gonna catch an attitude. I'm gonna be like, you know what? They didn't talk about that. Um, but that's okay. I'm still going to support the campaign. Like I said, it's going to take something major for me to say, nah, miss me with that. But right now, the way things are going, the way that people are struggling to put food on the table, to pay for their housing, to pay for childcare, to pay for medicines, we're gonna have to vote different to get something different. Because if we stay down this aisle of just voting for either Trump or Biden, nothing's going to change. And I wish that, like, especially Democrats, because Republicans, they gone. It ain't no rescuing them. They gonna be what they gonna be, and that's gonna be it. But I wish that people who say they're open to third parties would just realize, until you change the way you vote, nothing will change. If you're for an issue, ask yourself, has Joe Biden being president advanced that issue? And I guarantee your answer is going to be no. I'm almost I'm almost 100% certain that your answer is going to be no. Because that's not what they're there for. They're there to prop up corporations. That's who runs this country. I mean, we have a Supreme Court that said that corporations are people. They're not. But what do? We have to vote different. We have to be willing to say, you know what, Demopubs, it's over. I'm tired of voting and getting no results. And people say, oh, well, you're saying Biden hasn't achieved anything. I think I said this maybe last week, a couple weeks ago. Literally took me 20 minutes to say one good thing that Biden had did. And I was like, and then unemployment's low. Well, that's because he threw people off of unemployment. Well, children are being reunited with parents, but there are still children in cages. Well, the Build Back Better, that doesn't happen for 5 years, and it's a corporate giveaway program. Well, then there's nothing. There's literally nothing. I'm not gonna say nothing. There's very few things. I see some comments here. Thank you, Parker. It's time for a change. We have to make real change, not this phony change that Obama was talking about. Now I'm talking about real system changes where we say to the two parties, it's over. You haven't done anything. You haven't advanced anything. You actually regressed. So we're going to give these third party candidates a try. We're going to say, yep, it's their turn now, and you can sit down and you can go to court and you can whine and you can do whatever you want to do because that's what you do. Mitt Romney literally said corporations are, I forget, was that on that tape where he said like something about the 47%? Because I don't remember that. I mean, I remember him saying it, but I don't remember where he said it because I thought he was picked up on a hot mic. But that's just me. And I keep saying this, we have to change. And again, I really want people who will be open to voting third party to really ask yourself whatever issue is what you have, whether it's Medicare for all, reparations, Green New Deal, um, money for child to give to parents for child care, the child tax credit. Have any of those things advanced since Biden, Trump, Obama, Bush, Clinton, Bush, Reagan taking office? No. As a matter of fact, I was reading that people today make less money than people 50 years ago. And that just kind of shook me because I'm like, well, things cost more now. They were living off of this in 50 years ago. I mean, most of our wages aren't even keeping up. And then if you have the joy of having, health insurance, pensions, those type of things come out, it's hard in these streets. It's hard in these streets. And while I don't believe that electoral policy, electoral electing people to office necessarily changes things, I do have enough sense to know that there are some things that only come through legislation. Um, and those things that only come through legislation are going to require that we vote differently because we're just not getting what we should out of the duopoly. Um, and it's a glaring error, and I wish people would see it. But like I said, I'm going to do my best to say, "Hey, person," and I think that may be the question I will ask people who give me that a vote for West is a vote for Trump. When no, my vote for West is my vote for West. But I'm going to say, what is your issue? Has Joe Biden advanced that issue? And like I said, I already know the answer is going to be no. I already know it. I can 100% guarantee the answer is going to be no. I don't know if it was a part of the same clip as Romney saying 40 something percent of people want to live off of the government, but he didn't say corporations are people at, he did say corporations are people at some point. You know, when, if saying the quiet part out loud was a person, it'd be him. We want to live off the government, but you pass legislation giving corporations money. Okay. Um, I like I said, today was an interesting day of petitioning. Definitely going to get back out there and do some more. My personal goal is to collect $2,500, 2,500 signatures for Dr. West. And as I stated before, normally I put something out there about my channel. I will not on this show, on this particular program. Um, it's all about getting Dr. West, one, on the ballot and two, elected. That's the goal. That's the mission. That's why I call it the Congratulations 47th President of the United States, Cornel West. I don't have any other goals in mind. I'm not voting for anybody else. Related to him, though, this week Romney announced he is not running for re-election in Utah. Not related to this show, but that is interesting. But again, that's why I did this show. And I know there's more people out there in this country that think the way that I think. And my job is going to be to mobilize and get them out here to vote. Because if we keep down the track that we are, things are going to get much worse. You're going to have wars where there shouldn't have been. We're going to spend more of, expanding the military. Medicare is going to get privatized. That's something that Biden wants, even though he denies it. He does. He put in a person He appointed a czar who literally wants to privatize Medicare. Um, Trump gets in. I mean, it depends on whether he's in prison or not. Um, we have to do something. We can't just let things go the way they are. It's it's sad again when food pantries run out of food, when people's utilities are getting cut off. I remember saying just today, I'm on Struggle Street. It's hard for me to pay my mortgage and pay my medicines, which keep going up, and pay my bills and make arrangements with this person and make arrangements with this utility company or make arrangements with that utility company. That kind of um, um, equation isn't working. And I know that Cornel West can't solve all of those problems. He's just one person. But I think if we can mobilize ourselves and working inside and outside um, if we can get people activated, I think that's going to be such a um, positive thing. Oh, so Parker's got a comment, and that's what got me distracted. It's so crazy that Cornell literally was campaigning for Obama primary in 2008. Then fast forward to 2023, and he's running for president. I don't think it's funny. I think it's just what the Democrats get. And I'm going to talk about in a future when I get guests on this show, like why y'all so scared. It makes me feel so good that you're scared. You need to be scared. You ought to be scared. Be scared. Be afraid. Be very, very afraid. Be afraid. But no, Parker, I don't think it's weird because he and Tavis Smiley were put through the ringer by some people, including me. And then it's like we woke up. And when I woke up, I woke all the way up. I was like, wait a minute, what did I just do? Why did I vote that way? And, when you have politicians like Obama, like Trump, like Biden, like Reagan, you could go all the way back to, well, no, after Reagan, it really was bad. It was bad before Reagan, but like after Reagan, it just went, um, it, when you have a president that runs on hope and change and then nothing changes and you have a super majority but you don't use it, you bail out the banks but not America. You don't codify abortion because it's not a priority, but now women in certain states don't have access to women's health care. So no, I don't think it's odd. I think he's in the same position as a lot of us, including me. We were so fooled, and I think it's because we want it to be. I mean, how many chances are we going to get to have black presidents? We may have it twice. Again, that's why I called it Congratulations, 47th President of the United States, Cornel West. That's what I'm saying. And like I said, I'm going to work as hard as I can, as much as I can. This isn't a sprint, it's a marathon. So taking the slow pace is going to be the best pace. But now this show only comes on once a month. If I so happen to get more guests, I may bump it up to every other week. But right now, it's just once a month. So you won't see this show next week. You'll see it. Let's see. The next time this show will air is going to be, and I'll tell you all here in just a moment. It will be October the 20, no, I'm sorry, October the 15th will be, no, that's a Sunday. October the 4th. Dude, wait a minute. Is it every third? Let's backtrack. October the 21st. October the 21st is the next time you'll see this podcast, unless I just start getting guests like, put me on. But like I said, here is the website. Not going to advertise my own website on this program. It's all about visiting cornellwest24.org. If you are so inclined and you're watching this later and you want to volunteer for the campaign, we certainly can use you. I know we can definitely use help in Indiana and getting Dr. West on the ballot. That address will get you to they'll give your name to a state coordinator who will then contact you. So be aware that that's coming. Also, I want to thank everybody that's watching this and will watch this because I plan on promoting it everywhere. We're going to definitely be having some people on so I can interview them, talk about why they support Dr. West. Remember to read Dr. West's platform, what he stands for, what he won't stand for. Thank you all. I did not mean to go this long. I will see you all for my other regular show, the Tracy Show, that will be back on this Thursday. I believe it'll be on the next Thursday, but I'll know and you'll get an announcement, whatever. So thank you for watching this program. Have a fantastic day and remember, go West. Have a great one. Bye-bye.